Greetings, my beautiful lovelies, it's Emmy and welcome back. Today I'm going to be making frog bread. Now this has been making waves in the TikTok community. I do have TikTok, I have not started it. Make me start, tell me what I should see, motivate me to start my TikTok account. I'll put the link down below. I just need to jump in. At any rate, frog bread is all over TikTok and it's so stinking cute. All it is a loaf of bread that is shaped like a frog. Now, it's simple, right? So I know what you're thinking because you're familiar with my channel. You think it's some kind of bread that contains frog. No, it's not. It's just bread, plain old bread that you make yourself, of course, that's in the shape of an adorable frog. How wholesome and sweet and cute is that? So the origins of frog bread date all the way back to 2005 from a blog called The Fresh Loaf. And instead of making what the recipe called for an alligator, the baker decided to make a frog because her grandson loves frogs. So frog bread was created, an adorable loaf of bread shaped like a frog with raisin pupils and a lovely brown egg wash. I knew how to make it for myself. I mean, who doesn't love shaped bread? Actually, I think when I was doing a little bit of research back in the 1980s, this was a thing. Making loaves of bread in different shapes. Alligators, turkeys, you gotta love the 1980s. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and make some frog bread. I'm going to be using the original recipe from The Fresh Loaf, but she says that you can go ahead and use any kind of sturdy bread recipe that you like. I made my dough in a stand mixer, but you don't need one. You can just make it in a bowl. If you don't have one, you'll just have to knead it for a little bit longer. So in the large bowl or in the bowl of your stand mixer, you're gonna add 6 cups of all-purpose flour. Then add 2 teaspoons of salt, add 2 teaspoons of yeast. Now I used instant yeast. Now the recipe does not specify what type to use, but since the instructions said to dump everything in together and there is no instructions about blooming your yeast, I'm going to assume that it was instant yeast rather than something like dry active yeast. If you're using a stand mixer, use your paddle attachment and give the dry ingredients a little bit of a mix. Next, you're gonna add 2 cups of lukewarm milk, and this is anywhere from 98 to 107 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 40 degrees centigrade. Next, we're gonna add a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup of water, and you're gonna adjust this based on how dry your environment is. The recipe says to knead the dough for 10 minutes, so you'll know when the dough is ready when you can do the window pane test. It's when you pull up a bit of dough and you can stretch it and light filters through it. It's nice and transparent. You've built up enough gluten to have a nice chewy bread. Now you're gonna take a bowl and oil it lightly. Oil the top of your dough ball and place it in your bowl and cover it, a little bit of plastic and a dishcloth. Now you're gonna let the dough rise anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes until it's doubled. You want it to be nice and warm, not too warm, and you don't want it to be drafty. So the colder your room, the longer this process will take. At this point, you can shape this dough into any kind of creature you like, but since I'm making frog bread, I chose to make a frog with 2 small frogs as well. So my sons made their own little individual frogs and I made a mama frog. So punch down your dough and then cut 1/3 of the dough off and set that aside. So with the large piece of dough, you're gonna tuck the ends under and create a ball or boule, pinch it nice and tight, and then kind of point it at the end so you have a little bit of a teardrop. And this is going to be the body of your frog. So with the remaining dough, you're gonna cut it into 8 pieces, 2 of them being a little bit larger. You're gonna tuck the dough under, but this time you're gonna form a little sausage. And those are gonna be the hind legs of your frog. Then with the remaining 6 pieces, 2 of them are going to be the feet of the hind legs. You could just cut a little fork into it and you're gonna have 2 little back flippers. So then you're gonna take 2 more and then make tiny little balls by, again, tucking them and pinching them and stretching the skin of the dough nice and tight. So you form 2 balls, and those are gonna be the eyes. Stick those right on top. So with the last 2 pieces, you're gonna take a butter knife or a bench scraper and cut 2 little slits. And now you've got 3 little fingers. And you're gonna pinch the tips so they're nice and pointy, and then tuck that under the front of the frog. You're gonna cover this loosely with some plastic and let this rise for about an hour. And to make your frog look really lively, take a couple raisins and press those right into the eyeballs. You're going to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And then if you'd like a nice shiny brown frog, you're gonna make an egg wash. So take 1 egg and add 1 teaspoon of water and beat that all up. So before we egg wash the frog, you can cut a little slit for a smile and then brush your egg wash all over your frog. Place this into your preheated oven and bake it for 1 hour. You'll know when the bread is done when the internal temperature reaches 190 degrees, and mine reached that at 50 minutes. So at 50 minutes, you might want to start checking on your bread, particularly if you're making smaller loaves. Once we take the breads out of the oven, we're going to let them cool completely before we cut into them. And here we are at the present moment, ready to taste the frogs. Let me grab them. Ding, ding, ding. Aren't they hilarious? Mama Frog and her froglets. Oh my goodness, look at these. Aren't they totally goofy and silly? They're so fun. So while these were baking, the eyeballs wanted to fall off. I had to kind of give them a couple pushes while they were baking. And the raisins or the pupils wanted to pop out too. So I used a chopstick to give them a good press, but they turned out pretty great. The small ones I think turned out even better. So my first rise went a little bit too long. It was a little bit overproofed. So I had some bubbling happening on here, but I think it kind of works for the frog since it's supposed to have a warty texture. But you know, it's frog bread, so I'm not looking for perfection. I'm just looking for bread that looks like a frog. Which is why this recipe is so much fun. And it's a great recipe to make with kids because it combines wonderful things like food and playing with your food. I've just been dying to do this, but let's go ahead and give this a bite. Itadakimasu. I think I actually over kneaded this. It's very, very, very chewy. So 10 minutes on a stand mixer makes for a very chewy bread. So if you don't like your bread so chewy, then perhaps do not knead it for so long. But it's delicious. It's a lovely white bread. It's got a little hint of sweetness in it. Perfect amount of salt. Let's check the crumbs. Sorry, Mama. This does make for some interesting shaped toast though, for sure. Looks pretty good to me. Slightly overproofed. See the size of those holes? But it's bread, and homemade bread is the best. So this style of bread is like a sandwich loaf, and the holes are nice and small and tight. It's fluffy, but it's delicious. So there you have it. Now you know how to make homemade frog bread. I highly recommend doing it because not only will your house be filled with the scent of freshly baking bread, you will have absolutely adorable, goofy results that, if anything, will bring a smile to anyone's face. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. I hope you guys learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media. Like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo. Take care. Bye.